So in Fort Lauderdale, there was 4 cops who were fired over horribly racist text and video that they had put out there. Their names are Alex Alvarez, Jason Holding, James Wells, and Christopher Sousa. They range in age from 22 to 31. They're cops in Fort Lauderdale. I'm going to read you some of the stuff that they did. We got a little bit more detail than when we first covered the story, but mainly the video has come out now. The video they did that had the KKK hood in it, etc. In some ways, it's a little worse than I anticipated. We already knew the N-words were going to be in there, but some of the pictures of dogs attacking black people is unbelievable. So I'll get to that in a second, but first let me give you some context here. We told you about the terrible text they had sent before. Let me give you a part of the reporting from the New Times, Broward Palm Beach here. Sousa, one of the cops, was found to have texted Holdings, that's the other cop, "We're coming and drinking all your beer and killing niggers." Sousa later said he did it to fit in on the force and that he regretted using the terms. He said his best friend since 3rd grade is black. Okay. So, hey, I was just trying to fit in by hating all the niggers. That's not really a good defense. And second of all, that leads us to believe that the problem might be a little larger than Fort Lauderdale. If that's what a young officer on the job thinks he has to do to fit in, if you take him at face value. Second of all, now you're going to go tell that really good friend of yours from 3rd grade that that's what you call him behind his back? Well, have you been telling him that all along? Yeah, I didn't think so, right? So then we go to one of the other officers, Wells. Wells texted the word niggers and nigger lover dismissively and also razzed Alvarez by calling him a faggot. Of course, why not insult everyone on the planet while you're at it? He called some of his coworkers lazy fucks. He was referring to the African Americans, of course, and used the term retarded brown. So that one I'm not sure refers to African Americans or Latinos. It seems like they're ready to insult everybody on the planet, including their coworkers, their colleagues who are also cops who happen to be black. So, they like to say, oh no, it's just a tough job out there and sometimes we get attacked. No, it's not just about the people that you're policing. You don't like any black people, including black cops who you call the N-word behind their back. So the fact that 2 of them happen to be Latino doesn't excuse any of this. It's such an incredibly stupid argument to say, no, they couldn't have been racist against blacks because they're Latinos, just like George Zimmerman. That's insane. And second of all, you're also calling Latinos, I think, retarded brown, and other reporting has indicated that they did use racial slurs against Latinos as well. And so the fact that 2 of them are Latinos maybe gives them an excuse against other Latinos. I mean, not against other Latinos, but at least in regards to themselves, 2 white guys don't have any excuses. They're insulting everyone on the planet. Okay. Now, if you're thinking, well, look, man, these guys, the stupid Fox News excuse, they listen to rap music. There's no indication of that whatsoever. That's where they got it from. It's black people's fault. They're the ones who introduced that language. Besides, they're just being friendly, and this is their way of talking behind the scenes. You can't, okay, all right, well, I'll give you one more text to see if you still think that. Jason Holding writes, I had a wet dream that you 2 found those niggers in the VW and gave them the death penalty right there on the spot. Does that sound like kidding, ha-ha, among friends? You think the guys in the VW were his friend? Did he know them since 3rd grade? I don't think so. Now, you're going to get the full context when you see the video that Alvarez put together. It's in the form of like a movie trailer, and it depicts them as, in some weird way, like I guess they think they're the good guys by attacking black people with dogs and all the other things that they're going to show here. They look like the bad guys in the movie trailer, but I guess they get off on that. Here, watch for yourself. They called themselves the Hoods of Death. And in case it was unclear through all the N-words that were used in that trailer, they put a KKK hood in the video so you knew where they were coming from. They compare themselves to the guys who ran slaves in the movie Django Unchained. And they have all the pictures of black people being attacked and brutalized, and they viewed as like, ha ha, that's what we're going to do to them. And this isn't just theoretical. It's not like they worked in a white neighborhood or a Latino neighborhood and they happen to hate blacks. No, they policed a predominantly black neighborhood. So this is what they were excited about doing. Now, luckily in this case, they've already been fired. It's a good question as to whether one of them, Sousa, who said that this is the culture of that police department, I was just trying to fit in. Is it? That's a good question. Maybe somebody should investigate that. And for all the people who say, oh, what are black people complaining about? Today there was an article in the Washington Post saying liberals should get over Ferguson already. It's their Benghazi. You think this is fake? This is what black people have to deal with all the time. I'm sorry that you Washington Post columnists don't have to deal with it, don't know anything about it, and the cops treat you perfectly fine. But how could you not see that this is the reality for a lot of African Americans in the country? You'd be crazy not to be frustrated over it, not to do protests over it. Of course you should exercise your rights as an American to make sure that this stuff changes. Look at what they got to deal with. This is not a one-time thing. We've now shown you case after case where African Americans are killed when they're unarmed, when they haven't done anything, when they've got toy guns, no guns, even when they're naked. And then we've shown you cases where cops in LA shoot unarmed black guys and then get rewarded millions of dollars for doing that. And now you've got this video and these texts. When is it going to get through to you that maybe the African Americans have a different perspective, and in their perspective, these are the guys who are supposed to be policing them and patrolling their neighborhoods? Does it look like community policing to you? No, it looks like they view blacks in this country as the enemy. It's hard not to get frustrated by that. It's hard not to want change when you see this, real change.